I think their starting pitching is strong enough to do some damage. Their bullpen is one of the best I've ever seen, and that lineup has no holes and can mash top to bottom.
Plus, the Yankees got a black king, man. Shout out to my man Aaron Judge.
That's true, man.
Yeah.
They're a great lineup. But yeah, it pains me to say it, but I could see the Yankees winning it all this year.
All right, there it is. So I'm going to recap. In the AL, Ed, you have the Yanks winning the AL East, Cleveland the Central, Houston the West, wild card teams Boston, LA. Matt, you have Boston, Minnesota, Houston, and Yankees in Cleveland for the wild cards. I have Boston, Cleveland, LA, and then I picked my wild card teams. Real quick, off the top of my head, let's go Yankees and Houston. And then NL, we got Ed, you have Atlanta, St. Louis, LA, and the winning divisions. Matt, you have New York, St. Louis, and LA. And then I have Philly, Chicago, and Colorado. And then for the World Series, Ed, New York Yankees are against Atlanta. And you got New York winning it. Matt, Boston, St. Louis, Boston winning it. And I have Boston, Chicago, with Boston becoming champs again.
When I hear you repeat it, man, it sounds so terrible. But yeah, that's technically what I said. But yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like I might be sick over in this corner.
All right, let's predict some award winners. Let's start off. We'll start from small to least to greatest, I guess. Cy Young in the AL. Who we thinking?
I got Chris Sale. That's my man. And actually, I got two lefties, actually. AL, Chris Sale, NL, Kershaw. I got both lefties winning this year.
Okay.
So let's go for the lefty powerhouses.
Shout out to the lefties. What'd you think of that?
Well, I think I'd be upset with myself if I didn't think that Corey Kluber was going to be in the running again. The guy's just a monster. They call him the Klubot. He just goes out there game after game, strike out a bunch of guys, doesn't walk a lot of guys. I think he's going to be really tough. Getting a little older now. He kind of was a late bloomer. When he started winning Cy Youngs, he was already a little older. But he's going to be a guy that's really tough. I actually agree with Matt, though, that Chris Sale is probably your Cy Young winner. Just the way he delivers the ball, like you were saying, a southpaw. He looks on the mound. His delivery looks like he's like 7'8" or something like that. Right. He's a different breed out there on the mound. Really, really tough guy to bat against. So I'd go with Chris Sale. In the National League, I'd love to see a guy that I already mentioned, like Freeland, for Colorado. That's a guy that really impressed me last year. And looking at it, I don't know. It's more of a wide open field for me, but I'd like to see Kyle Freeland get it, especially if he can put together another great season in Colorado. His numbers, if you look at him, there's a lot of advanced metrics in baseball that kind of help a pitcher out a little bit based on the ballpark that they're in. Colorado, notorious hitter's ballpark, and he put up some incredible numbers there. So I'd love to see that. Like Matt was talking about, though, the Kershaw is going to be tough again. A lot of great pitchers. But
also, from what I was told, that NL pitchers kind of have it easier than AL because they don't have to go against DHs.
DH, correct.
Is that?
Yeah, but I mean, they have to face when the pitcher usually hits once, maybe twice. Chicago usually doesn't let their pitchers hit twice. But I mean, they get to sub someone in and put a pinch hitter in, which is essentially like a DH. So it works out where they get to face the pitcher once more per game. Yeah, that's beneficial. But I'd like to see if actually any Colorado Rockies pitcher has ever won the Cy Young. Have they?
I don't remember one.
I can't recall one Cy Young winner ever being a Colorado Rocky pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think so, man.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean that's
long shot, but
yeah, we're talking. We're 2 weeks into spring training here. I take a gut shot on that, so right. It's on paper. So if it happens, I look really cool. And if it doesn't happen, then it's he pitches for Colorado. So right. What do you expect? But in all seriousness, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Kershaw if he's healthy. I think you've got a couple of studs in New York with DeGrom and Syndergaard. If either of those two guys won, it wouldn't be shocking in the slightest. But yeah, I mean that's my my gut shot feeling at this point in the season.
Okay. Rookie of the year. Who are you guys thinking?
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Hey. By the way, real quick, the reason why I became an Angels fan was because of Vladimir Guerrero.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I like to hear that. That's awesome, man.
Yes,
He was
sir.
Before Francisco Lindor came along and was my favorite player. My guy was big boy Vladdy Sr. too. Was a guy I just loved him. You know, hit with no batting gloves.
He swung at everything.
Swung at everything, yet
Yes.
somehow still maintained an excellent batting average and did not strike out a lot. The guy was incredible. He could hit a ball out of the park that was over his head, that was at his feet. I'm pretty certain it was him. There was a ball that actually bounced to the plate, a curveball that came in, like a 58-footer that came in and bounced. He hit that for like a single or double or something. The guy was incredible. I think his
and that arm, man, that arm from right field.
Yeah.
That the way he used to be able to gun people down.
Yeah, man, he was.
I used to live for that for fucking ESPN highlights.
Yeah, man, interesting player. He's a guy. Wasn't the greatest defender in the world. Was good out there, but wasn't the greatest. But that cannon, man, you never know what you're going to get out of that. Sometimes it's a laser beam directly at the plate or at third base, and another time he's putting one into the stands. But man, if there was a guy that was exciting to watch, it was him. I loved him coming up with the Expos. He had some good years with the Angels. I think he wrapped up his career with like Texas and Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But just a great player, man. I think his son might hit a lot like him. I mean, Jesus, he tore it up in the minors. Yeah, he's a big boy. Tore it up in the minors.
Big boy. He likes to eat.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one of the concerns with him. Actually, is his health. As far as like looking overweight, he looks overweight.
Yeah,
right?
he is a stocky dude. He's
A
6'1".
brick shit house. That's what he is.
I mean, there's some guys. There's some guys that have found some real success. You talk about like a Tony Gwynn or a Prince Fielder that have been bigger guys that found success.
Yeah.
But the kid can absolutely mash. So
I've seen this kid run for a triple. So I mean, this kid can run.
yeah, he's athletic. I mean
Prince would have been like 2 or 3 hits for him to get to third.
yeah. You're gonna need to bring the bat with him to second base.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, but another player like Vlad though, back in the day, I mean, didn't hit as many home runs, but man, Ichiro back in the day, that guy had a cannon. He could hit anything. He could hit a home run, but he said the chicks dig the base hits, so he liked to hit base hits.
Is that the old slogan? Chicks dig the base hit. Is that what it was?
That's
He
funny.
thought
I can see that.
he thought that the girls liked the guys that could handle their stick better.
Hey.
Hey-o.
So that's what he said. He's like, I have more control, so they like that better. But I think Vlad Jr., hopefully he comes up and he does what's expected. I think he should have been up last year.
He plays for Toronto, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was no reason for him not to be up last year, considering how bad their team was. You can take a look there. I mean, they weren't even close to playoffs for the last half of the year. They could have brought him up. And there was no one at third base. They were putting Russell Martin at third base. So, I don't know. I think he's definitely going to be the rookie of the year. But
what about NL? You guys got any prospects?
I think that Vlad will do his thing, but I do not have him for the AL Rookie of the Year. So I think there's a kid that's going to play in Chicago, Eloy Jimenez. That's a guy that they're comparing to Stanton. I don't think he's got like Stanton power, but I think he's going to be a great hitter, and I think he might get more playing time this year than Vlad. And it's interesting that you guys were talking about Vlad a little bit in the playing time. Matt mentioned that he should have been up last year. If we want to talk a couple bold predictions, moving forward, I think one of the things that you're going to see across the league coming out of the Players Association is you're going to see a change where right now one of the things that teams do is they hold guys back intentionally to get an extra year of control out of them. And by that I mean they send them down to AAA. They don't let them get their at-bats and experience necessary to be considered a rookie or to exercise their own option moving forward. So I think you're going to see a change in that because that is one of the things that's driving the problem with the contracts getting out of control and not paying players properly until they're in their mid-20s or older. So with that being said, I agree. Vlad Guerrero hit like 400 at AA and hit like 350 at AAA. It's a kid that should have been playing Major League Baseball, but they held him back because of wanting another year out of team control.
Yeah, I got you. They do the same shit in like football and basketball too, where you want to try to control the contract as much as possible to manage money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that you're going to see that's going to be a change where, I think you're going to see the players exercising more control. At least the rule might change, where you're going to see a guy that should be up. They'll make it more intelligent for a team to be able to bring up a guy that should be up. It's very interesting. But I think Eloy Jimenez is your AL Rookie of the Year winner. And, shout out to Toronto. They got an interesting little thing brewing. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but they've got like 2 or 3 other sons of Major League players that are out there too. Bo Bichette and Kevin Biggio are Dante Bichette and Craig Biggio's sons are also playing in Toronto. They're all going to make an impact soon, so it's kind of a cool little thing going on.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Cool little thing going on in Toronto. So it's going to be fun to watch again, and
we should see how he does.
Yeah,
I like it. Did y'all want to give an NF Rookie of the Year? I just want to move on.
I have one that might pop up. One's I know it's kind of tough. I don't know how many guys are really going to come up and make a huge statement. I think Alex Reyes, who had Tommy John, I think it was beginning of the season last year. If he comes back this year, he might make some big headlines for the Cardinals, for their pitching staff. But that's my prediction. Not really too many out of the NL, I don't think.
Okay, I think that there's going to be a guy also coming back from injury that I think will take Rookie of the Year is a guy named Victor Robles. I think one of the reasons that who
does he play for?
The Nationals.
Okay.
I think one of the reasons that they were able to let Bryce Harper go is they got Victor Robles coming up. He's going to be a very good player out there, I think. It's going to be an exciting young outfield. Obviously, the Nationals have Juan Soto, who did his thing last year, played amazing after he was brought up. And Juan Soto, the funny story about that is that he actually would have probably been the second choice to have been brought up last year. Victor Robles, I think, is a little bit older and was the guy that they were grooming to take over that position. And he was injured last year, though. So I think he's a guy that with Harper's departure is going to step in, and I think he's going to play a lot, and I think that's your National League Rookie of the Year.
All right, I dig it. All right, so we got Rookie of the Year, we got Cy Young, and then the last major one really is MVP?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And with that being said, who we got in the AL MVP?
You're going to be happy with this one.
So go ahead and say it, baby.
Mike Trout there.
Yeah.
I think he's the MVP as long as he stays healthy.
70 home runs this year, right?
I have him around 35 to 40.
All right.
A little bit more reasonable.
Thought out that.
But he's still got close to probably about 25 stolen bases, hitting around like 320. He's going to be a stud like he always is.
I was told by my man Dave, though, like Mike Trout always puts up MVP numbers, but it's sort of like the LeBron James effect, where he's like every year he should be MVP, but they just usually give it to somebody else.
Yeah, that's a great point. You said Dave was his name?
Yeah, shout out to my man Dave.
Yeah, man, me too. Shout out to your man Dave, because it seems like every time you've brought up something he said, he's been right on the mark.
All right.
With Trout, he lost the MVP to Miguel Cabrera. And the only thing that held Mike Trout back from winning it that year was the fact that Miguel Cabrera had hit the Triple Crown that year, which is a feat that hadn't been done in a long, long time. So, I feel like Mike Trout, if you take a look back, I don't have it in front of me, but I think he's finished either first or second in MVP voting for like the last 6 or 7 years. I mean, he's a historically good player. He's like a once-in-a-few generations type of player. If you look at his career trajectory, where it's at now, it compares with the greats of all time. Your Mickey Mantles, your DiMaggios. He's tremendous, tremendous player. It's pretty safe to say that he could be your MVP this year. I'm hoping it's a guy that comes out of nowhere a little bit. Say Francisco Lindor's got a shot. He's going to miss a couple of games at the beginning, but hey, I got to say it, right? I mean, that's my guy. I don't know he realistically has a shot, but there's a lot of candidates. I mean, if Judge does his thing, if Judge goes out and hits 50 home runs and the Yankees are playing well, it could be him. There's a lot of players that could emerge as a top guy, but yeah, safe money's on Trout, man. He's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. And now?
Whew. That's a toss-up. I'm just going to put my money on Goldschmidt this year. I think I got my money on the Cardinals winning that. I think it's all because of him. And I'm just going to put all my eggs in that basket there with Goldschmidt. I think he puts up not the same numbers as Trout, obviously, but he